and then like the gate I was at 48, or the flight number that I was at was 4803. So in my mind, I look at the 3 and I'm like, that's an 8. And I go back to doing what I'm doing and no one's boarding this flight. And I'm like, my flight's like going to leave in like 10 minutes. And so I finally look over and the gate next to this gate that I'm sitting at is my flight. And so I would have almost missed my flight, and I didn't buy insurance or anything. So it would have been 100% my fault if I missed that flight.
So you almost missed your flight because you were at the wrong gate.
Right next door to my gate that I was at.
Jesus Christ.
And so I finally get on my flight. But it was a fucking fantastic experience. I got there at like 11 o'clock at night on the first night. And that was one of the first stories that I had told the girls all together, is that I got an Uber share or a Lyft share or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's
basically a glorified bus, only you don't know who your driver is.
Exactly. So like you're with the driver, you got this lady next to you that you don't know. And so we're driving, and of course I just got off a flight. I haven't talked to anyone for a while, so I'm like, why are you visiting Austin? She didn't really give me a lot of information, but she said her family lives in fucking San Diego, and she was like visiting from Milwaukee or something. I don't know. So she's like this little Indian girl. And I'm talking to the driver about like his statistics, boring shit. Like I'm just trying to make fucking conversation.
What's your favorite tennis shoe?
Yeah.
You ever rape anyone?
Yeah. And so, do you have a shovel back here? And so,
notice you got some nice robe back here.
Which that was one of the first things I said, because like the stupid fucking the back. What is that called?
Window.
No, the back where you lift it up, like on the back of the Honda.
Trunk?
Yeah. So like the trunk thing.
The hatchback?
Yeah, the hatchback thing almost came down because it's one of those automatic ones that like comes down.
Future.
And so it starts to come down, and I looked at him and I was like, that's how you fucking knock people out and then throw them in your car. And he was like, oh. No. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm just kidding. That was an awful joke. So I get in this car with this girl.
Fucking A.
And so she doesn't really talk that much. I pretty much tell her what exactly I'm doing and who I'm with. And
you're like a natural tourist.
Yeah.
By the way, here's my social security number. You can find me over here if you need me.
I'm like being overly friendly to her. And then she looks at me and she's like, so what like undergrad school did you go to? And I was like,
school? What the fuck? What kind of question is that?
Right? And so I look at her and I was like,
do you have a stepmother?
Right?
What the fuck?
And I was like, what? And so I had her say it one more time because I wasn't 100% sure if that's what she said. And she was like, so mind you, this is the first story that the ladies all get to hear when I see them at the bar. And she's like, yeah, what kind of undergrad did you do? And I was like, I dropped out of high school. And she was like, oh. And I was like, but don't worry. Like, I made a living for myself. Like,
it's all good.
I'm all right. And she was like, oh, well, did your husband go to college? And I was like, nope. I'm like, also dropped out. It was like actually when he was 13 years old. And like, so the conversation gets real sterile at that point where it's like just fucking falls flat.
Yeah.
Like, she was shocked.
When people have that box that they always live in, they think everyone else is in that box.
Mm-hmm. Well, tough. And I was like, well, I'm a staffing recruiter for commercial, and I was like, I do direct hires, and I like kind of explained my job. She was like, wow, you did that without a degree? And I was like, a lot of fucking people do a lot of things without degrees.
You can start a business without a degree.
I was like, who the fuck are you? So then finally we get to this destination and we're going down this weird street and it looks real sketchy, but like some of the houses are re-gentrified. So I'm like, well, maybe it's all right. Here's some gunshots. I see some like bitch getting mugged. Totally normal. And so
that's just Austin. No big deal.
JK, I didn't see that, but I did see like a pig getting skinned or whatever. Just kidding. I didn't see that either. So
I just imagine like people like coming up on you in the streets and be like, you want some barbecue sauce? Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Just everyone has barbecue sauce for some reason. Like everything.
Like shaking it.
You want some barbecue sauce? Just like
jizzing
skating
barbecue sauce all over the thing.
Skating barbecue sauce on you.
So
Spicy.
So we're driving down. It's super dark. It's 11:30 at night. It looks sketchy as fuck. And the guy's like, well, I'm not just going to drop you off like wherever. Like, so he's ballsy enough to walk into people's yards and like look at and investigate fucking addresses.
I thought you like you made it seem like he was looking through people's windows.
No.
Is there people in here?
So
there's people in this house. You should knock on this door.
So we finally find the house that I'm supposed to go to. And it's this rad Airbnb. It just like barely came out. Super fucking nice though. And so I'm there. All the ladies are at a bar like probably 2 blocks away. And so I go and join them, and it was so much fun. And basically from that story on and moving on to the weekend, I think everyone it was stressful at first, especially I think not in general for Lyndon and Jess, but I think that they were staying in a hotel. So they had their separate quarters from us.
Oh, okay.
And when I first saw them, they were both tired. One of them had to work late. Like, it was just a whole thing. So you could tell they just wanted to get back to the hotel and like shower and just relax. And so when we kept missing them at first, like just scheduling wise,
catch up, yeah.
Yeah. And so it wasn't working out. But once we all got together, and I think once they let their guard down, you
guys get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah, or like / I kind of ripped everyone's walls down because I just refused to have walls. So I basically just started talking. I'm like, you're normal fucking people. Like, you're just as normal as I am. You probably have weird shit that you like to talk about too.
Everyone's weird. Everyone's weird.
Yeah. And I think that's what did it, was the fact that it was just like, it was comfortable. Like, we all realized we're all different people and we all can just fucking hang out and have a good time. Like, fucking Shannon stayed at the house on Saturday morning to shit. It's because she didn't want to shit in front of us.
Too much information. I'm sure she loves you telling that story.
So she stayed home and had like the whole house to herself. And then we went kayaking. So it was JJ, Julianne, and I, and we all went kayaking and got to see the outskirts of the city, or like the center of the city, but on kayaks.
Yeah, that river goes through this, like right through the city, right?
Oh, it's fucking, if I can tell anyone to see the city a certain way in Austin, is to fucking get on a kayak and go see. It's the coolest.
If there's a river that goes through it,
go in it. Like,
and then read A River Runs Through It.
Yeah.
And then
listen to that one song, the Foo Fighters song.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
But we went through the kayaking. It was just such a cool way to see the city.
Was it hot down there?
It was warm. It was, so we call it, JJ started calling it the ferret incident. So there was an incident on Saturday.
I saw some shit. Some people had some pet ferrets or some shit.
So we're walking on, it wasn't 6th Street because we never actually went to 6th Street. We kind of just were like, we don't need to see it. It felt like
6th Street like a thing.
It is. It's like this crazy thing. It's a bunch of raunchy people, just people getting fucking wasted. And it was like, it was one of those things where I'm like, I can go without it. Like, I kind of want to see like the local stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see local art and like vintage stores and like
see what the city's about.
Yeah. And so
get a vibe.
So on Saturday after our kayaking, we all meet at this barbecue place, and we spent, I think it was $150 on like 3 pounds of different meat that you could like choose in any different way.
Yeah.
And then you got 5 sides. And like they're pints of sides.
Yeah,
and so
you're like, it's like a family pack or a party platter
like
or
for
some
6
shit.
people.
Damn.
So we all pick out on that, and then after we're done, and like the meat just fell off the fucking bone. Like, you got an entire pound of
God, you're making me hungry again.
Of like a beef rib, and that shit was just a fucking hunk of meat.
And for those of you who don't know, if you ever
good.
cook a beef rib, it takes so long to break down that tissue because it like you can bake that for hours. It is gonna be hard as a fucking piece of leather.
That shit was butter.
That means they cooked it at such a low temperature for so long. That's probably like a 16-hour smoke.
I'm not gonna lie, it was delicious.
Damn.
And like it was so fucking good. And then they had these jalapeno cheese stuffed sausages, and then the fucking just these smoked pork ribs that just slid off the bone and whole. And like the butter just was like a spread for the bread. Like it was so good. And
okay, here's what I want to know.
Yeah. Oh, and the brisket?
White bread? Like regular like
cornbread. They do have white bread though.
Cornbread, nice.
They have the white bread pieces that you can just grab.
Because I do love the fucking just regular like Wonder Bread.
Like you know where they would normally put like a stack of napkins? They have a stack of white bread.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
And so they...
Because you take the bread and then you put your finger in it and you wipe it. You take your other finger and then you're like, oh, now I got barbecue sauce on the thing. Gotta eat it.
So fucking good. And the brisket had a perfect amount of bark on it. Just seasoned so perfectly well. It was just so fucking good.
Yeah.
And the cream corn, we got mac and cheese, we got Mexican rice, we got what else we get? What did we throw in there? Potato salad, which wasn't that great. Wasn't my favorite.
Beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes.
100%. That like we were all so fucking excited, and they serve you beer in line. So we're drinking.
This sounds my kind of place.
It was so fucking good. It was so on point, and we were all in love. So not only all these women get together, but we also gorge out on fucking food together.
That's awesome. That's a good. I always said eating's the best bonding.
100%.
If you actually if you're dating someone, you like them,
and we were all gnarly about it.
Feed them.
We never fucking we were picking forks and crossing elbows and hands, just getting in each other's way, trying to get food. It was just fucking. It was
hyenas.
It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous fucking
situation
with just a bunch of hot women eating meat. Like I was
like
so
that.
stoked.
You came back from hanging out with women more masculine.
Yeah, it was
You're
so
broing
great.
down so hard.
I broke down so hard this weekend. I was all about it. I felt pack mentality. It was just like the fucking grackles brought it out of us too. We'll get to that. The grackles.
Okay, you're dragging this out. What's going on?
Grackles are a bird. Okay.
So what the fuck with I saw ferrets.
Okay, so we're walking down the street now. So we decided.
Oh yeah, how many steps did it take? Jesus Christ.
We walked like 2 miles. Mind you, it's 70.
This is becoming like Lord of the Rings of stories.
I know, but it's just the best weekend. You have to envision.
You had to be there.
No, you just have to envision all of it because
I'm there. I'm there right now. I know. It's warm. It's Austin. Barbecue.
All of these ladies are they're wearing sweaters. They're cold, and it's fucking 80 degrees outside. So we're walking with full stomachs. We all start getting the meat sweats. We're all deciding that we're all sweating because of the meat we just fucking digested.
Yeah, a lot of meat. A lot of
our
warm.
body's getting hotter as we're moving along, and Jess wants
Mouths
to
are
find
all dry.
Yeah, 100%. And Jess wants to find a pair of glasses. Fucking Lyndon wants to buy another pair of boots. This bitch was in Texas not that long ago, and she bought $1,000 pair of boots.
They do have the best boots down there.
Oh, we went to this boot store.
Boots.
The guy was pissed. We walked in because he knew we weren't going to buy anything. But the craftsmanship on a fucking leather boot in Texas,
real made,
goddamn gorgeous. And so
they're like cowboy boots or
cowgirl boots, cowboy boots, just fucking. It was I
want the snakeskin ones.
100. They had red dyed snakeskin ones. They had alligator boots. It was just so fucking. It was fire. And so I was looking at all these boots, and I was like, man, if I had $800 to spend right now, I'd buy. I
think it's mandatory when you move there. They're like, okay, well, make sure you get your license, and then you have to get cowboy boots.
100. I don't even think you can get your license without the cowboy boots.
Yeah, it's true. They're like, we won't take your picture. Yeah. Get your fucking. You're like, the boots aren't in the picture. I don't care. Does it look like I care?
Exactly.
And then they shoot a gun in the air. Ta, ta, ta. Now get your ass over there and get some boots.
What was it? So the walk thing, because it's for blind people.